Hello, welcome. I'm going to be demonstrating a very simple unit test. Here I've got my test class set up and my test method. I have NUnit installed, so let me stop this. And I added this as a reference, the NUnit framework here. Okay. And as we can see, I'm using an NVC4 application. We have on our actual home controller, I've got an index view set up, so let's take a look at that. Home controller. In here I'm just passing a list of 2 countries to our index view. Okay, so now as you know, we could have multiple methods and multiple views in our controller, so we want to test to make sure they're correct. Okay, now this is just a very basic test case, but nonetheless it is a test case. So there's also a graphical user interface here, which I'm going to get into if I have the time. So we'll check that out. Yeah, so let's run and see what we have. Okay, so as I mentioned, there's our index view. Our home controller runs because this doesn't really have to do with, oh shoot, sorry about that. This doesn't have to do with testing, but our home controller runs because it's defined in our mapped route. Okay, home and index, and an optional parameter if we would like. Okay, so that's all we're doing, and we saw the list in the index view and we know it's there. Okay, so let's go back to our home test, and so we've included our NUnit framework, and we're going to use the assert class to see if these are equal. Okay, so let's run this. I've gone through this before, so it should be kosher as I've prepared this demonstration. Okay, so there's our index view from the home controller, and now let's run our test. And here's we created this controller called home test and the test method. Okay, and as we can see, no problem. Okay, now we could do some tests on this or do some type of standard output, but let's say as we're writing our test case, it should be view. Okay, but we made index instead. Okay, so let's test this. Okay, and this is just, you know, the very basics, but here in a moment we'll see when we run our test, we'll see that an error is thrown. Okay, so let's try to run our test now, and boom, assertion exception was unhandled by user code. Okay, so boom, there we have our unit test. So we could correct our problem, obviously, and everything will be fine. Okay, so basically we just instantiate the home controller, we define the result as the index, as the view result from the index method in our home controller or function, and then we do the test. Okay, so everything will run fine now. Okay, so there's the very basics of unit testing with NUnit. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.